I'd like to start this video off by apologizing for not what you would think, but for not doing a review last week of Leap of Faith. I really wanted to. I wanted to do an episode that I actually kind of liked and thought it would bear fruit to make a comparison of that to Super Speedy Cider Squeezy 6000. But instead, I'm doing testing 1, 2, 3. If you can't tell, I did not care for the episode. What a shock. I'm honestly surprised I have any subscribers at all. What with my subpar production quality, my overwhelming negativity, my wildly inconsistent release dates. I mean, heck, I don't even have an OC. I don't understand how I have any subscribers. Maybe you hit it accidentally. If that's the case, there's a button in the lower right corner that you can click to unsubscribe. And then on the top bar, you can just type in Digibrony or Brony Curious, because one of them is probably going to be a little bit more positive than me. That's okay, I'll wait. Okay, that's probably enough time. So anyone who's remaining, I salute you. You brave souls. Alright, why did I not like testing 1, 2, 3? Well, I think the first thing to point out is I didn't hate the episode. I would not say this is one of the worst episodes of MLP or of the season, though I did not think it was one of the better episodes of the season. I'd probably put it in the bottom half. For the sake of full disclosure, I'm not an RD fan. I don't hate Rainbow Dash. I like her, but she's one of my least favorites. The fact that it's a Rainbow episode doesn't really get to me. There are very few that I love, but most of them I'd put in the solidly mediocre category. So, just throwing that out there, interpret it as you will. So what did I like about this episode? Well, I'm not per se going to host the episode for this, but every Rainbow episode seems to follow the same basic arc. Oh, the trimmings may change, the settings may change, but every episode follows the same arc. Rainbow is arrogant and says she's the best. Something happens that makes Rainbow question her abilities. Rainbow is depressed. Rainbow discovers she is as good as she thinks she is. That's kind of the arc she goes through. Every episode has had this. Sonic Rainbow, Ne'er-do-well, Find a Pet, Wonderbolt's Academy. Even Rainbow Falls had this to a large extent. Maybe the only one that doesn't have it is Sleepless in Ponyville, but that wasn't really a Rainbow episode. That was more of a Scootaloo episode. Every one of her episodes follows the exact same general arc. This was okay in season 1 and 2, but now it's getting a little bit old. I'm not going to fault the episode for that. The episode I will judge by its own merits. I'm just kind of disappointed in the crew that they can't do anything more with Rainbow Dash. So what did I actually dislike about the episode? Well, the first point actually deals with Twilight and not Rainbow Dash. I'll freely admit, my ranking of Twilight has been falling. At first I really related to her as she seemed kind of like me. But as time's gone on, she's been seeming less and less adorkable to me, and more, not quite arrogant, but she has this kind of know-it-allness, kind of lurking beneath the surface, it seems. And that just really rubs me the wrong way now. I'm sure that's not their intent, and to be fair, I think this is also influenced by the fact that it seems like, especially of late, she's the only competent one in the show. When there's a crisis, it has to be Twilight who resolves it. I mean, in the premiere, her friends couldn't even figure out to stick the elements back in the tree. It has become quite clear that when there's a crisis, Twilight's the only one who can solve it, and I'll admit that annoys me. This episode gave me a healthy dose of why I don't like Twilight. She just, to me, kind of came off as, let me tell you what's best for you. No, we're not going to do what you want. We're going to do what I want, even though it involves you. And I hate that kind of mentality. And it comes across to me as kind of smug superiority and that you know better than anyone else. However, I will give the show credit where credit is due. Over 20 episodes in, we finally get an episode where Twilight has to be an alicorn. In every other episode, with a minor rewriting, Twilight would not have had to have been an alicorn. This is the only episode that would have required a major rewriting for her to not be an alicorn. Now, her being a princess is a different matter. I would still say there hasn't been an episode that has required her to be a princess, and that's including Twilight Time. But I'm not going to get into that here. And furthermore, Twilight was kinda dumb. Why did she think this was going to work? She should know Rainbow Dash. She should know flashcards and highlighting and history lectures aren't going to work for her. She might not know what will work for her, but she should know those aren't going to work for her. I mean, I think most of the fans could have said, that's not going to work before Twilight even tried it. Twilight should know Rainbow better than we do. It just seemed kind of weird that Twilight was doing that and thought that was actually going to work. But enough about Twilight. To me, that was just a nuisance, but it didn't make the episode bad. To me, I didn't actually like the core message. Now, I am all for the lesson that people learn in different ways. For me, flashcards and highlighting does not work. That's not how I study best. To me, that just distracts me. I totally understand. People learn in different ways, and I am totally sympathetic to that message. However, I thought the episode did it poorly. They presented alternatives that didn't really exist. And it doesn't even make sense. First off, pretty much what it was Rainbow saying she's good at multitasking. Well, there have been tons and tons and tons of studies on this topic, and almost all agree multitasking is bad. It may give you the sense that you're doing more and being more efficient, but the reality is you're doing worse and being less efficient. To me, that's not really a good message to send. However, since that's not their key message, I won't hose them too much for it. However, in my opinion, the way she learns is honestly mind-numbingly stupid. She's not doing anything, she's not even paying attention, and in the periphery she's noting this and internalizing it all. I understand that a good flyer is going to notice everything around them. The same's true for a good driver. You know, I'm a pretty good driver, but I don't internalize what I see on the road. I'm pretty sure there was a guy in front of me at a red light today, but I don't remember what the model of the car was. I don't remember what the license plate was. I don't even remember the car's color. And yet Rainbow remembers all of this. You have to notice and internalize it. You don't just get it into you through the periphery. Furthermore, how did Rainbow not notice it? They were shouting up at her. How did she not notice that? She's noticed tons of other things. And you don't notice someone shouting at you from the ground? She's noticed that before. Why is she not noticing that here? So it just seemed really, honestly, unbelievable. This ties in with another problem I had with the episode. Rainbow didn't work for it. She didn't work to get the material. That's what studying is. It's working. You sit down and you try to learn the material. You don't just absorb it. In essence, the core message of the episode ended up being that studying and learning does not require work. Learning isn't easy. You have to try. I found it kind of insulting that the message seemed to be saying you don't have to work to get what you want. There is something to be said for hard work, and I cannot support this, admittedly, unintentional message. And, of course, it also seemed kind of weird that, while I'm all for learning more history of Equestria, it seemed like it was only a paragraph or two. I'm kind of honestly surprised Rainbow couldn't memorize that without trying to use gimmicks and techniques. But, to be fair, there might have been more that we didn't see. So I'm not going to per se hose them for that. And then, of course, as is my wont, I also was kind of annoyed at the presentation of the other ponies, as once again, they all seem to be caricatures. Twilight, books. Fluttershy, play put on by animals. Pinkie, song. Applejack didn't even have anything. Just knowledge about apples. Well, that one actually seemed kind of insulting to Applejack. And then, of course, Rarity, history through fashion, which makes no sense to me. But at least we learned one thing. Rarity can rock the Napoleonic era. Anywho, there you have my take on Testing 1, 2, 3. Like I said, not the worst episode ever made by far. I didn't like what I got out as the core message. Obviously, if other people liked it, that's fine. So thank you for watching. I hope you found this interesting and evocative. As compensation for being so late to get this episode out, I am preparing another video on Discord. So, thank you for watching, and have a great day. Until next time, stay derpy, my friends.